Just close your eyes. Know the peace within.
Inwardly, you are infinite already. At the non-dual level. Outwardly, you accept yourself to be a tiny form, finite form at the duality level. Inwardly, you never move at the non-dual level. Outwardly, you appear to move here and there at the form level within the duality level. Inwardly, you never change at the non-dual level. Outwardly, so many changes appear to happen at the form level within the duality level. Inwardly, you never appear to be a specific shape or design. You are beyond appearances at the non-dual level. Outwardly, you appear to be a specific shape and design, volume or mass, moving here and there at the duality level. Inwardly, you are never born at the non-dual level. Outwardly, you appear to be born at the form level, at the duality level. Inwardly, you remain as deathless because you are never born. At the non-dual level. Outwardly, the form appears to disappear at the duality level. Inwardly, you remain unchanging and unmoving at the non-dual level. Outwardly, you always appear to move here and there, and your form appears to change zillions of times in no second at the duality level. Inwardly, there's no movement at the non-dual level. Outwardly, there's only movement at the duality level. Inwardly, there is no form at the non-dual level. Outwardly, there are zillions of forms with various shapes and design at the duality level. Inwardly, neither movement nor any happening at the non-dual level. Outwardly, so many movements, millions of happenings at the duality level. Inwardly you remain peaceful. At the non-dual level, outwardly you appear to remain tensed, depressed at the duality level. Inwardly you are free from identifications at the non-dual level. Outwardly you are totally identifying each and every object, each and every happening within duality. Inwardly you are beyond sound at the non-dual level. Outwardly sound happens within duality. Inwardly you are free from time, you are in timelessness at the non-dual level. Outwardly time appears to be real, movement appears to be real within duality. Inwardly you are already free from the total manifested objects at the non-dual level. Outwardly there's only manifestation within duality. Inwardly you are ever here, eternally here, with no beginning and no ending. Outwardly everything appears and disappears, everything begins and ends within duality. Inwardly you are ever here, beyond time, beyond movement at the non-dual level. Outwardly you depend on time and movement within duality. Inwardly you are already free from all movements, all objects, all that perceive at the non-dual level. Outwardly you remain tensed, you remain identified, you are not free from anything that is within space. You are constantly worried, remain struggled throughout the waking state of the duality show due to identifications which are not you. Inwardly you are already relaxed, utterly relaxed, totally relaxed. Outwardly you remain tensed, frustrated, struggling within duality. Your inward richness beyond time, beyond movement, beyond object, beyond form, beyond sound, beyond words, remains unknown to you once you accept the form which happens within duality show to be yourself. The form depends upon the movement, time, object, words which are not you. Inwardly you are never born and ever present. outwardly the birth appears to be real and death also appears to be real within duality show. Inwardly, you are already free from the dreamy object level, manifested level show of the duality. Outwardly, to you, only the manifested duality show is the only reality. Your consciousness is inwardly ever here, but it never knows, and it simply accepts the perceived reflected object which appears to disappear within the duality show to be real, because your consciousness is already inwardly ever present, but it never knows that only out of itself the entire surface level, duality level, manifested level, object level, identification level, dreamy show is going on spontaneously. Your consciousness, which is ever here, without beginning and without ending, it never knows its infinity by accepting the perceived, ever-changing, ever-moving duality show to be real. Just now, your consciousness is within, inwardly. Inwardly means beyond space. The origin of your consciousness is non-dual, and whatever it is, as world, cosmos, universe, it is happening at the duality level, at the space level. So every happening is at the duality level, which is nothing but the reflection of the light. And the light is beyond space, and its reflections are within space. This your consciousness is yet to know. And your consciousness accepts itself to be the form which happens for a shorter duration within duality to be itself. Though it is eternally, endlessly ever present, it never knows its infinity. It is accepting the finite form to be itself. The infinite consciousness, by not knowing its eternal richness, it accepts unknowingly the finite, time-based, object-based, movement-based, dreamy duality show to be real, to be itself. The infinity of the consciousness remains unknown to consciousness once it starts identifying itself to be the finite form within the duality. By accepting the finite form to be itself, the infinity of the consciousness remains unknown to itself. So it constantly struggles, and there is no end for struggles, because it is accepting something which is not itself as itself. Then how can it remain peaceful? How can it remain joyful? How can it wake up from the dreamy duality show to realize that it is only the ever-present eternal reality and not the perceived unreal show? Listen to these teachings deeply. I am talking and describing about the infinity of your consciousness, which is beyond space, and you are much worried about all happenings, events, objects, and form level events within duality, which appears to be real because they are all nothing but the reflections of the light. You are the observer, infinite observer, ever present observer, but you are observing only the finite, time-based, form-based, object-based show, or that too only for a shorter duration it is reflected. Since your consciousness does not know its infinity beyond duality, prior to space, it is accepting the finite form level show to be real, to be real, to be real. It is exactly like accepting the dream state to be real till you wake up. Here also, your consciousness, which is already non-dual, it cannot become the truth. It is already the truth, but it never knows the truth about itself. By not knowing the truth about itself, it is accepting the finite, form-based, identification-based, movement-based duality show to be real, to be real, to be real. So the only thing which your consciousness needs to know is to know that it is only consciousness, and also its destination is already beyond space. Why you are closing eyes now? Because only by closing eyes you know your original state beyond space. With eyes open, again you are trapped by the object level show, manifested level show. So you cannot know the truth about yourself with eyes open. So you must know that there is a state which is prior to the movement, which is prior to the object, which is prior to the time, which is prior to space, just now. And this state is eternally here, ever here, this non-dual state. Now you know the stillness within. This is the beginning of the non-dual reality. And you are much worried about the finite form level show, which happens for a very short duration. From morning till night, within finite time only, the finite events appear to happen. All your worries are based on the finite form level show, which happens only for a shorter duration and which are not you. How to know that none of the perceived events or happenings or objects are not you? So first get to know from where everything appears just now. All the objects around you, including your form. Can the form happen if you are not conscious? Can the world happen if you are not conscious? Can any object appear if you are not conscious? So your consciousness is the basic, fundamental, essential factor which is already beyond space and which is ever present and which never moves and which cannot die, is yet to know its eternity. Your consciousness is yet to know its infinite eternity. Till then, it is trapped by the finite form level show, duality show, which is not real. You must find out what is real, then only you will know that these are all unreal. What is real? The real cannot change. Real neither can appear or disappear, and real cannot move. It is ever present. It is unmoving and unchanging. You must find out which is unmoving, unchanging, and ever present. Here the entire duality show appears and disappears. Within the duality show, everything changes. Everything appears and disappears. What kind of reality can you find within the duality show, which is not you, and you are much worried only about the duality show, about the perceived duality show, because you are yet to know the observer beyond space. You do not know that there is a state which prevails forever, eternally, ever, prior to this finite duality show. This duality show is time-based, and your non-dual state is beyond time. It is in timelessness, and you are already in timelessness. How do you get trapped by the duality show, which is not you? Because you are yet to know that you are already the non-dual, and you are already the consciousness, and you are already beyond space, which can be known only by closing eyes. That's why now you are closing eyes and knowing the peace within, knowing the stillness within, Knowing the stillness within is the beginning of your consciousness. Now you are very much conscious of your presence. Settle here, stabilize here. Your consciousness starts waking up. By settling consistently, your consciousness wakes up totally to realize that it is never born. Whatever that appears and disappears within space are exclusively an unreal dream, including the birth and death of the form. Your consciousness knows that there are no person ever here. Whatever perceived within the duality show within space is only the reflection of the light from itself. Due to the play of the elements only objects appears, manifestation happens, varieties of show happens, varieties of movements also appear to happen, and the entire bundle of duality show is exclusively by the reflection of the light within. This your consciousness knows only when it wakes up totally through stillness. Then your consciousness knows that it was only observing a movie in which it appeared to be born at the form level and it disappeared at the form level within space. Your consciousness knows the observer once it wakes up totally and knows that it is the eternal, ever-present, absolute observer and nothing has never happened to you. That's why I say your consciousness realizes unborn eternity and knows that it is already that only when it wakes up totally, wholly. Your consciousness knows that it is already total, complete and perfect and nothing never happens to it. Now tell me, is it not essential for your consciousness to realize what it is? By not realizing what it is constantly trapped by the perceived dreamy duality show to be real, to be real, to be real. It is going on getting trapped by its own movie, by the play of the elements, unknowingly. Only when your consciousness comes across a realized or meets a realized, it comes to know that it is only consciousness. Only a realized reminds your consciousness that you are consciousness only. Only a realized helps your consciousness to remain free from identifications, to remain free from the personality, to remain free from the disturbed duality show, and helps you to remain wakeful inwardly, constantly, and helps you to realize also what you are, that you are already that. My whole teaching is exclusively to the consciousness within, which is unknowingly accepting itself to be a finite form by not knowing its infinite richness beyond space. At least now, listen to this teaching sincerely, deeply. It helps your consciousness to know the stillness within, and also it helps your consciousness to stabilize the stillness constantly and to remain wakeful consistently and to realize also that it is the absolute, the ultimate, the supreme already. Do not waste time here. Each and every moment is so precious. You are here only to realize that you are already that. Enough of sleep. At least now, wake up consciously and get to know that nothing never happens to you and you are already that. Will you?